Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Israel Update. We've got quite a lot to cover for you today. Really just talking specifically about the world's deafening silence regarding everything that's happened specifically in the last week. But I'm thrilled to be joined by Doobie today. Doobs is in Jerusalem. Doobs, welcome.
Hi, Shalom. So good to see you.
So, Doobs, there's obviously a lot that's gone on that we're going to cover, but the thing that I wanted to start with was the shocking footage of seeing the hostages that were returned and the condition that they were in. I mean, in reality, the closest thing we have to that is it's like seeing pictures of those people that actually survived the Holocaust, looking at the way that they looked based on the photographs we had, but it's seeing it in full living color. What is the feeling in Israel amongst the people and the government regarding this horrendous condition that they came back to Israel in?
I must admit that we were shocked.
Yeah.
We were shocked that after going through the Holocaust, to see Muslims again coming out, just like the people that had been rescued by the Allies from Auschwitz and Birkenau and the death camps, and to see these people's skeletons and skin, it's terrifying. But the thing is that, a lot of people are surprised, so say, we're not so much surprised because we know the devils that we're dealing with. We know these people, they are animals, and the Hamas, they torture people. They are the worst people on earth. But in Israel, everybody were literally stunned by the stand of President Trump.
Yes.
On our side, based on what he had seen when these people came out. He was devastated. You could see the compassion in his eyes. The words that he didn't make a pre-plan, but it moved him into a situation when he spoke up and he says, by Saturday, all the hostages to come out from there. He said they don't have much time left. And he's speaking more boldly than the Israeli government or in this country. I mean, I'm feeling his heart, and I see his pain, and I see him as a father, as a grandfather, as a human being. I see his heart open when he saw those animals and what's happening to the people that are coming back from this devastating captivity. And that's what Israel is all talking about. We are speaking about how can we combine our efforts together with the President of the United States to try and shorten the time of the return of the hostages. People were devastated by the knowledge that this is what they've done to civilians, and trying to think about the torture and what's happening to our captured soldiers. We can't even extend our brains to think that because it's just dropping us down to the ground. Now, the thing is that based on our history, we cannot act like this. I mean, it's very easy for Israel to say, let's break the rules and let's torture the Palestinian prisoners. Let's flatten Gaza. Let's burn them, napalm them down. It's not the rhetoric you hear in Israel. It's only pain, fear about the rest of the hostages and what can be done to bring them back home. When people don't speak about what I'm going to say now, but the biggest dilemma Israel has is that Hamas not only wants us to turn back into the land from the areas that we're capturing in Gaza, but also to stop the war and to give them guarantees that we will rebuild Gaza while Hamas is still in power. Otherwise, they will not release the remainder of the hostages. They will always keep some of them as their protection for Israel not to return to the war. There's a lot of pressure within Israel to do anything and everything and pay any price to bring them back. Now, my question is, Hamas is watching the dispute, the discussions, the rhetoric in Israel, and the way that the people in Israel from the left are putting pressure over the government to give up, to stop the war, to do this, to do that. What if Hamas will see what's happening exactly in Israel, and they're going to say, okay, our new condition for the release of the hostages, Israel give back Jerusalem to the Palestinians. Give us Jerusalem back. Would you pay that? The hostages? I don't know. Give back Tel Aviv, give back Jaffa, Haifa. We want you to go out. Otherwise, we're not going to return them. You understand where I'm going with this?
Yes.
There is a price that the government is not, and Israeli people will not be willing to pay.
Yes.
So why go into this blackmailing list and show them that they can push us around and squeeze the buttons more and more and more?
Yeah.
We should go to where President Trump went and said, listen, you will pay a toll from hell.
Yeah.
You're going to harm these people and not give them back. And I think even in the Bible, when somebody is killing someone, one of the ways to retaliate is by taking revenge. An eye for an eye.
Yes.
For a tooth. We can do 20 eyes for an eye. We can do 50 million people for 5. We have the ability to do that. And we're not acting like this. And the enemies are looking at this as weakness. And we have to man up now, because there's a new president in the United States of America right now that is not going to embargo us, is not going to put any pressure if we're going to do what needs to be done. So let's wake up and do what has to be done and stop paying these huge prices that instead of releasing 79 hostages, with 35 of them are already dead, giving back the entire country as a hostage, because they will not stop asking for more.
Yes. I think that's what it comes down to. They are never going to stop asking for more and demanding more, because we spoke about it a little bit last week, Dubes, from when you look at 1947, 1948, what they were offered, they always said no. Even when it was offered 2/3 to them, the answer was always no. And that's something that we have to be aware of. And, the other thing that I wanted to mention, for those of you that are aware, the whole country watches the Super Bowl. And this past Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday. And I think the most shocking thing to come out of that, as a South African, I don't really understand football. I kind of sat with some friends and watched it. I didn't understand what everybody was excited about. But Kanye West ran an advert. And when people went and clicked on the link to be directed to the website, the only thing on his store was a plain white T-shirt with a swastika on it. And he'd been sending out these horrific tweets talking about how he loves Hitler and hates the Jews. And I mean, you're talking about such blatant anti-Semitism that it's repeating the rhetoric of Hitler. It's repeating the genocidal rhetoric. And the fact that, some people said something about it, but as Christians, I'm somebody who, again, a lot of you know this, my heritage is Arab. I'm Lebanese by heritage, and I'm somebody who is a Christian person. I'm a Christian Arab, and I have made my decision a long time ago where I stand, and it is with the Jewish people. And I can tell you, it is something that I would genuinely be prepared to die for. The way that I feel about Israel and the way that I feel about the Jewish people, that is something I would willingly take a bullet for or shed my blood for. That is something I will never back down from. And I will not tolerate, I cannot be friends any longer with people that would call themselves Palestinian sympathizers. I have drawn a line, and it is pretty much the only thing. I'm okay with almost anything else. I can handle just about anything else, but there is a deafening silence around the world where, when this website was directed, you've got to ask yourself, what would happen? What would the left or the right be doing if this website had directed people to something that was viciously anti-Black, that was viciously anti-LGBTQ plus, whatever you want to call it, that was viciously anti-anything else? There would be such an outcry. But instead, the amount of retweets that Kanye West got, the amount of site, they've now shut down the website, thank God, but the fact that it was allowed to air at all, the fact that he spending money presenting this group of people with money meant that they were allowed to air an advert that went to the Nazi symbol of genocide. Considering what just happened on October 7th, a year and a bit ago, considering we've just seen the horrendous conditions of the hostages that were released, it has filled me with a rage that I really cannot begin to describe. And the deafening silence has bothered me to such an extent. And I do feel like for those of us that are watching, it is our responsibility as people who call ourselves Christians to stand up now more than ever. Now, we can't go running off and join the IDF. That's not something we can do, but we can speak. Remember what Martin Niemöller famously said, not to speak is to speak, not to act is to act. He's the one who said, first they came for the socialists and I did not speak up because I was not a socialist. And then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak up because I was not a trade unionist. And then they came for the Jews and I did not speak up because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me. Now is a time in history where the anti-Semitic levels that we're seeing are rivaling those of World War II. And when history looks back at us, we are either going to be those people that fall into one of two categories, those that spoke and acted or those that didn't. We're either going to be those that would carry the flag of people like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, or we're going to be like the silent majority bystanders who allowed rhetoric and concept to turn into genocide. And I know I sound fired up, and I know that it might sound intense, but it's now or never. We've said it again. Since the Holocaust ended, we've been saying never again, but never again is now. I know it's uncomfortable to talk about the hostages. I know it's uncomfortable to look at what it is that they're actually their physical appearances, but imagine what it is like to be them. Imagine what it is like to be, and I'm saying this as a non-Jew, the fear that I can see in some of my Jewish friends. It feels like World War II looking back, and that is something where we have a responsibility before the living God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to make a stand now. And I know I'm fired up, and Dubes, we're going to talk about some good things that are happening in Israel now, but it is a direct challenge. It's something where we can give our money to help, we can give our time, we can give our prayers, and it is something that I believe is a heavenly responsibility that has been mandated to us by the living God, and I feel it very intensely in my heart like a fire.
The biggest fear of most Israelis is that if this hatred, this anti-Semitism, this feeling that is returning, that it's us against the whole world, will awaken the animal in us.
Yes.
That's our biggest fear, that we're not going to keep staying who we are with our morality and compassion and love and care, and saving one life is saving the world. What if all this situation will turn us into a defensive animal that will bring our cloth out, and we will act towards the people that hate us with such hatred and power, and we will start exterminating our enemies because the animal will come out and tell us that's the only way to go. That's what we're trying to avoid. Most Israelis are not afraid of our weakness. We're afraid of our power. That's what we don't want to release. We don't want to unleash the animal within us. We don't want to change and turn into those beasts. We want to stay the way that God made us, in his image, in his shape, in his love, in his compassion. We don't want to turn into those devils. And that's our biggest fear. But, to end up with something that is a little bit more optimistic and beautiful, tonight that we're recording, actually Tu B'Shvat Eve. In the modern world, it's the Arbor Day of Israel. But actually, Tu B'Shvat is the time that the people of Israel realize and acknowledge the beautiful gift of God to the human beings, land, the soil, the land of Israel. The first beautiful thing that God gave man is to go out and work and cultivate the land and grow and expand and create for yourselves. This is the time that all of us Israelis are thinking about one principle, that it's time for us to sow a seed into our future, to sow a seed into the multiplication of the blessing of God, to sow a seed into the fruits, into the trees, to think about how can we work together as people according to, in alignment with the will of God in our lives, to create a better world, a much more beautiful world, and a more thriving and blessed world for us. And that's one of the main principles that we're experiencing right now throughout Israel, everywhere. People are sowing and planting and taking saplings and putting them in the ground, but also sowing a financial seed into organizations and people in need, because that's the time that we understand that God gave the seed to the sower, literally, and we need to use it. And I can only encourage all of you to enter into this beautiful season, to enter into this beautiful time of sowing a seed into the future of Israel, the future of the chosen people of God, into your own future, into your own ministry, into the house of destiny. It's known to be the most effective times in history of the Jewish people every year, that when you sow during this time, you reap a great harvest. And that's the beautiful time of the season. And I hope that you can enter into that blessing right now, because with all the bad and everything that is going around us, I want to hold on to God's promise that when you sow into fertile soil, God is behind you and with you.
Amen to that. And so for everybody watching, pray about that. Let's pray, let's act, let's do something. So we thank you, God bless you, and we'll see you next week. As always, every Friday here at israelupdate.org. We love you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hello, friends. I'm Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding His revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
The rich young ruler, I think of him, and Jesus did say, "Well, sell everything you have and come and follow me," and that broke his heart. But Jesus wanted him. That's what he wanted. He didn't want anything to have him. Let's think of it that way. How beautiful is that? God doesn't want anything to have you.
We should seek him and be more in tune with finding out what it is that he wants us to do. Okay? And knowing that. And the only way you can know that is to seek him diligently. Where it says that if you seek him diligently, then he will reward you.
I think at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is that God actually desperately wants us. Mm-hmm. He wants me in entirety, in my ontology, in my being, in my makeup. He's not looking for me to do a bunch of stuff for him. Watch now at real-faith.tv.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 6-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.